Part 9. The Cursed Brothers fanfic. The Outsiders. So Pop's POV. Staying. He finally falls asleep the way a storm dies. Not all at once, but in pieces. One breath came smoother than the last, then another. His whimpers faded into tiny, exhausted sounds that barely counted as noise anymore. And eventually, those stopped. His body still trembled faintly now and then, like leftover thunder, but his weight was fully slack against me. Head tucked under my chin, mouth parted as he slept. I didn't move. Not even when my arms started to ache. Not when my shoulder went numb. Not when my shirt was soaked through with tears and sweat and everything he cried out of himself. I just stayed. I listened to him breathe. In, out. Shaky, but steady. Only when I was sure that he was really asleep did I lift my eyes to Derry. He was standing a few feet away, arms crossed tight over his chest, jaw clenched so hard I felt in my crack. He hadn't said a word. He hadn't said a word the whole time. He didn't need to. I lowered my voice to barely above a whisper. Hey, Derry. He looked up immediately. Can you, I swallowed, glancing down at Pony curled into me. Can you grab a blanket, maybe dim the lights a little, make it nicer for him? Derry nodded without hesitation. Yeah, I got it. He moved quietly, careful with every step, like the floor might creak too loud and break something fragile. He flipped off the overhead light and turned on the lamp in the corner instead, the one with the soft yellow glow that made everything feel warmer, less sharp. Then he disappeared down the hall. I shifted just enough to get more comfortable without waking Pony, adjusting him so his cheek rested better against my chest. His brow was still furrowed even in sleep, lashes wet and clumped together. Tear tracks dried along his cheeks. He looked younger like this, smaller. My chest ached. Derek came back with a blanket folded over one arm, an extra pillow tucked under the other. He paused when he saw Pony asleep, like he needed to make sure it was real. He out? He whispered. Yeah, I murmured. Finally. Derry's shoulder dropped just a fraction. He moved closer, slow and careful, and dropped the blanket over Pony first, starting at his shoulders, tucking it around his back, his legs, making sure nothing was tight or heavy. He adjusted it with the kind of care that comes from years of worrying too much. Then he hesitated. You good? He asked me quietly. Nodded, yeah. Don't worry about me. He didn't argue. He slid the pillow behind my back instead, nudging it just right so I wasn't hunched forward. Then he adjusted the couch cushions, pulling one up under my arm to support Pony's weight better. There was something steady about the way Derry moved. Methodical, protective, like if he could make everything just right, nothing bad would happen tonight. He crouched down and brushed Pony's hair back gently, careful not to wake him. Pony shifted slightly, a tiny sound leaving his throat, but he didn't wake. His fingers twitched once, then settled again against my shirt. Derry froze. Then, when Pony stayed asleep, Derry exhaled through his nose and whispered, He's exhausted. Yeah, I said softly. He held too much for too long. Derry nodded like he'd known that already. He stood and looked around the room, then went to the window, cracked it up just a little, letting in cool night air. He pulled the curtains halfway shut so the straight light couldn't shine directly in. He turned the TV off completely. Quiet settled in, not the heavy kind from earlier, but good kind. Before stepping away, Derry rested a hand on my shoulder. It was brief, but solid. Wake me if you need anything, he said. I'll be up. Looked at him. Thanks, Derry. I looked up at him. Thanks, Derry. He nodded once, then paused at the doorway before looking back at us one more time, before heading down the hall. I leaned back carefully, letting my head rest against the couch. Pony tucked safely against me under the blanket. His breathing was slow now, deep enough that the brushed warm against my collarbone. His face was relaxed for the first time all night. I ran my fingers through his hair once more, slow and gentle. That's it, I whispered, though he couldn't hear me. You can rest now. The house was quiet. Derry was nearby. Pony was asleep. And for tonight, just tonight, that felt like enough. I stayed right where I was, holding him, making sure nothing in the world could touch him until morning.